There's a thing that happens in relationships, and it's like the silent killer of self-esteem for women who are lover girls at heart. Like, you love romance, you love, you pour love. I'm talking about selflessly, sometimes to a fault. And that silent killer is intimacy deprivation. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about intimacy, like on an emotional, mental level, just starving for something. And the person that you're expecting this from sees you starving and does nothing to nurture you. Intimacy deprivation is real. It's traumatic. Again, it's a silent killer of self-esteem, of standards, of your ability to believe that you're worth this. Because here's the thing. Anytime that you give somebody something, meaning anytime you pour yourself into a relationship, anytime that you go hard, love on this person, is there for this person, automatically as a human, you're going to have at a subconscious level an expectation that they will do the exact same thing for you. You're only doing it for this person. Not like you're allowing yourself to be this version of you for this person under the pretense that they are on the same level. They feel the same. They would do the same, etc. So whenever you do these things, or you are this person in a relationship and they leave you hanging, or they act like it's pulling teeth, or they act like it's such a chore to love you, eventually, especially if you have an attachment to them, you're going to start suffering from intimacy deprivation. Like you don't even know why. Again, not just sex. Of course, sex is included, but not just sex. You can have zero intimacy while having plenty of sex. You ever been in a relationship with somebody that didn't meet your emotional needs, but they wanted to touch you? They wanted to do things with you. They may even guilt tripped you for not wanting to have sex with them. So maybe you did because you felt like, okay, I don't want to cut him off, or I don't want to tell him no. I don't want to be turning him down and refusing my man. And there's still no intimacy. There's still no safety. There's still no connection. And I want to bring attention to it. I had a sister ask me this, and I took the master class down. Y'all, I only do the master classes for a limited time. But a sister watched my last master class and was asking me how, and this is like the same question over and over again. D, how do I express to him my needs? And maybe there is something that you can learn from that, but I was just like, sis, what have you already tried? Because more than likely, if he had no idea of what your needs were, you never would have given him a shot. If he just literally was just from a different planet, didn't know nothing about nothing. So I'm curious, what have you already tried? Well, I told him that I needed regular conversation. I needed regular time made for me, not spared, and da-da-da-da. So she basically had been taking what I had taught her and been implying that, et cetera, et cetera. Like, how can I, because he's just this, and she went through this whole backstory of this man's history, childhood, et cetera. I said, I don't care about none of that. That man is depriving you of intimacy, and he's knowingly doing it based on what she told me. And the thing about it is, or reason I was saying, a lot of men will do this, especially if you open up and you're such a lover girl, because they know that this hurts you. Some men will deprive you of intimacy, not just sex, intimacy. Like the sex part can be included, but especially when there's no reciprocity. You just doing for him. You got to do all the work. He don't do that. There's no intimacy there. There's not a connection. There's not a mutuality there. But this wasn't the case. I mean, literally, he just would not put forth effort to connect with this woman, but he knew it would hurt her. He knew it would have her mind spinning. You see, you got some men who are so insecure in a relationship, they don't function, they cannot function, or they believe that they can't unless they have some kind of power move. For any time that they get upset, their only leverage is your pain. Y'all don't know if y'all hear what I'm saying. The only leverage in a relationship for an insecure man is your discomfort, your pain, your uncertainty, et cetera, et cetera. And some men will leverage that. So that's where the withdrawals come from. That's where the suddenly going cold on you comes from. That's where the I don't want to talk to you comes from. Am I making sense to anybody? Y'all let me know. Slow connection. We're going to get it together. Let me put this down here, because I was able to turn her on to something that's, according to what she said, is already changing everything. I want to pin that in the comments. But a man will do this because he knows it's similar to love bombing. But you know how with love bombing, it's like, okay, in the very beginning, he's going to do all of these grandiose things in order to, hook you in. And then he just completely just rips the mask off. Just snatches the rug from under your feet. Intimacy deprivation in this regard is very similar. It's love bombing, but it's something that does happen. Like, the love is there for a while. It's not just in the beginning, it's in the relationship. But any time that you upset this man, pulls it away. Now, that's only one context. There's a couple other ways that it might show up, or a couple other reasons why, should I say. Sometimes it shows up because you're dealing with a man who's emotionally immature. And when I'm talking about immaturity, I don't want it to be too abstract. It's simply a man who's underdeveloped. This is where a man is not necessarily bad. He's not good. It's just that he's underdeveloped. He's too damn young. I mean, I hate to say it like that. He's too doggone young. Y'all be dating dudes. And I know that you are not a pedophile. I'm not saying that. But you be dating dudes who honestly are not old enough to ride this ride. They're just not. You should have checked their ID. This guy does not have the tools here. He does not have the development. Now, why does this play out? If you have a man that lacks all regulation of his emotions because he has not developed into the man version of him that can be upset but still show up as a man. Be whatever, offended but still show up as a man. And therefore, because he's so underdeveloped, he just goes with the wind. Don't matter what's going on, whatever the weather is outside, that's how he gonna feel. And I mean that figuratively. So if y'all ain't doing good, you get a completely different version of this man. If y'all not in a good space, he don't talk. He's like a stranger. If you never know what version of him you gonna get, that's a man that's likely emotionally immature. You're not old. He's not old enough. You're too old for him. And some of y'all, you might just be in your 20s or 30s and you too old for a man that's older than you on paper. And he will deprive you of intimacy because he just goes along for what he feels. And again, the intimacy deprivation over time it's another way of saying, and this is what it results in, it's neglect. You're neglected. And you giving this man the opportunity to love you, therefore the expectation to love you, you've shown him a version of you that does need love in return at some point. Not tit for tat, but you've shown him a version of you that now is opened up and giving and pouring and therefore needs nutrients in order to be refilled. And so the intimacy deprivation hurts. You see, when you're single, when you're alone or whatever, there's no intimacy deprivation. At least it's not so detrimental. You may be missing it, but it's almost like fasting. You know, you might have some hunger pangs for it, but you're not dying. This is more so starvation because you're actually in a situation, in a dynamic that automatically creates a need for somebody to pour into you to reciprocate. We didn't have to learn this in some big old book to say, hey, I need from you what you getting from me. We didn't learn that in some book. You have that innately, right? Innately. So another reason why a man will literally deprive you of intimacy. And I want y'all to put away your pride and ego or anything that just, you see, sometimes I need to say this. Sometimes you just feel like, well, I'll be all right. I'm okay. And you almost try to gaslight yourself into settling for a man. I don't know if y'all ever been in that situation, but sometimes you can want so badly a relationship to work that you force it by gaslighting yourself that you're okay when you're not. I do want to see if anybody's going to keep it real with me here in the comments. Put I down in the chat. If a man has at some point in any relationship you've been in not been meeting your standard, but you just kept telling yourself, I'm okay. I mean, it's all right. It's not so bad. You kept making excuses for him. You kept making provisions for him. You created all this grace to neglect yourself, basically, at this point, allowing him to neglect you by talking yourself out of leaving, talking yourself out of continuing to raise hell, talking yourself out of bringing it to him again just to be disappointed, gaslighting yourself. I hate to say it like that. We think gaslighting just happens from somebody. Sometimes we'll manipulate ourselves just to keep us from that uncomfortable action of leaving. I can't do this no more. We'll gaslight ourselves. It's all right. It's not so bad. Whole time, you over here ready to get out of character. You stressed out. You ain't sleeping the same. You losing respect for this man. I mean, it's all right. I mean, everybody got problems. And those are ways that you might gaslight yourself. I need to do a whole video on that. Gaslighting yourself to spare a man from losing you when he ain't doing right by you. Gloria Isaac said, I've recently been there. Christina and me, I have a relationship like that. So, back to what I was saying. Another reason why a man will deprive you of intimacy, and this is all the red flags to look for so you don't end up in a situation, or maybe this is already at play and you can you can validate, oh, this is what it was. This is what it is. If a man has a heart that's single while in a relationship, he will deprive you of intimacy. You see, this is one of those fake it till you make it extreme. All right, are we back? Hope we back. You see the devil trying to stop this message. Cause I ain't never heard nobody talk about this. So let me wrap this up. A man with a single heart will have withdrawals from his single days. And you see, with a man with a single heart, he is missing the variety. And no matter how great of a woman that you are, you can never be variety. That's the palate of an immature man. I know it's kind of going out. Y'all stick with me. I'm still here. But when a man has a single heart, he's still addicted to variety. And so he can never have one choice and really prioritize and appreciate loyalty. It's two completely different palettes. A little boy needs variety. A little boy needs something. It's like a new toy syndrome. And so because you're not a new toy, and that's none of us is going to be a new toy. That's happily forever after. Till death do we play. We're never supposed to be a new toy because you're not supposed to be getting played with. That's for the children. But see, when you're a grown woman and you're ready for something real, long lasting, lifetime, you're going to have to yoke yourself with men who have a palate to handle that. Otherwise, it's going to be like the new toy syndrome. Oh, I played with it. I'm done. On a mental, emotional, and physical, I'm done. So now he just gets away from you. Now he just withdraws. And the whole reason why is not because something's wrong with you. You gained weight. You're bitter. You're this. No, it's because he has a palate for the playground. Send them back to the sandbox. Send them back to the sandbox. And like I said, I'm going to wrap this up because on that note, those of y'all who you're a grown woman, you're a mature woman, you got life experience. You can't even date the same way that you used to. That's why I put the link down there in the comments because I have a video talking about it. There's a shift that as a grown woman, you can't date the way that you used to in your 20s. Not like you have to downgrade or settle or just be alone all your life. No, the same way you evolved, your strategy for dating, where you position yourself, how you position yourself also has to evolve. Or else you're going to keep attracting men who are on the level that you once upon a time were. But if you truly evolved as a woman, you don't even find attractive the same guys that you once upon a time used to get excited about. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you've truly grown, you don't even get excited about the guys that once upon a time used to have your head gone. And so if you in your, I say 35, I really say 40 and up. If you in that 40 and up era, and you've evolved and you've grown, and you frustrated, it's probably because you still doing the same things you was doing to get men before. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to get on dating, online dating, whatever the case. I'm going to just ask some friends to know some friends. I'm going to put on my nice shit, my nice dress. I'm going to go out and put myself out on the market. Maybe even the matchmaker. I'm going to let this God just going to send them. Faith without works is dead. There's some work you got to do. There's a switch. You can't date like everybody else. And I was telling the sister this because she's in her mid 40s. Like I said, whenever I showed her that video, I gave her the video, the best free dating advice for women over 40. That's down here in the comments, by the way. It's like 5-6 minutes, not a masterclass, just a quick video to discuss the compatibility index. But before you can even use that compatibility index, and again, this is for mature women, so if you're 20, this ain't for you. You first have to understand high standards, no expectations. Before you can even use the compatibility index, before you can position yourself for a man that's ready right now, because you ain't trying to waste time, right? Before you can do that, high standards, no expectations. You go in with an expectation again, that starts to open up the version of you that can be hurt by a man that doesn't reciprocate. That starts to open up the version of you that needs something from this man who has not proven he's worth the privilege of being needed by you. And again, I do mean privilege. 30. I would say watch it because there are some 30-year-old women who do have enough lived experiences, but this is specifically the best free dating advice for women over 40, specifically for those of y'all who are dating men who are also over 40, more mature, and able to assess the track record. You're able to decode his track record. I talk about that in there. Because you have to know what is that man's character credit score. Again, these are concepts. It's a little too much to go into here, but I made it real simple in the video. I put the link down in the caption. But if you come in with expectations of a man in the very beginning, you're going to open up yourself to be deprived of intimacy. There is no intimacy deprivation, connection, conversation, being seen and validated on a mental level, mentally stimulated. There is none of that if you have no expectations. But if you date with expectation because you're just projecting your heart on everybody that you meet or everybody that you like, you're going to experience intimacy deprivation and the side effects of that, just like if you was in a 10-year relationship with somebody who started neglecting you. So with that being said, again, that's like a prerequisite before you can even go out and effectively date, whether you're 20, 30 years old, or again, 40 something years old. And again, if you are 40 something years old and you're still doing the dating apps or you're still doing the social media, DM replying, you're still, I'm going to just go out. I'm going to just go to church. I'm going to just put myself out there and let people come and talk to me at the grocery store. You're still doing the same old dating things. I promise you're going to keep getting the same old dating results. Men who ain't ready, men who are emotionally unavailable, men who are broken, men who are on the DL, men who are broke, men who need help. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I was telling my subscribers this earlier. Yeah, the dating pool is trash, but at some point, you can leave the water park and go to the ocean where mature men are. You just have to use a compatibility index. Look, again, that link is down here in the comments. But moral of the story is this. Don't let nobody make you beg for their love. We ain't doing that no more. We ain't doing that no more. Man or woman watching this, man or a woman. I see most of y'all are women, but gone are the days of begging somebody to love us. If somebody acts like it's such a chore to love you, you need to relieve them of their chores and position yourself for somebody who knows it's a privilege to even get next to you. But those are just my thoughts, man. I'm your internet big brother. You know I got your back. And if you got something from this, hit the share button. And if you are over the age of 40, I would definitely say at least 35. Some of y'all 30, you can watch it. You know, maybe you get something from it. But specifically, this dating technique is for those over 40. And you want to stop attracting the same old same men who are not ready because you ain't got time to be raising nobody, preparing nobody, waiting for their learning curve to be over, waiting for them to find themselves. I highly encourage you to get that free video down here. I put the link down in the comments so it's easy to access. Also, it's at the top somewhere. Know if you guys can see it. It's down there. It's down there in the comments. The link, some of y'all keep you asking. 71 is still standing. Shout out to you, Sherry. But the link is right here. If you're over the age of 40, you're going to have to use a different strategy. And I explained that for free in a little short video. And the link is also in the caption. But I'll holler at y'all later. Again, share this if you got something from it.